What if your body's breakdown isn't a betrayal? It's a wake-up call. For years, Alayna Belquist built her identity around achievement as a marine biologist who was lobbying in DC, speaking at conferences, publishing. She lived in a world of performance and perfection, checking every box, chasing every goal, doing everything just right. When she was diagnosed with Lyme disease, her body said stop. Doctors told her she would never recover, and we are sisters in all the experience we've had. When I was talking with Alayna, it was crazy how much on point our journeys in our health illnesses have been. It's crazy. So through her own research, self-trust, and deep surrender, Alayna reversed Lyme disease, which, by the way, is chronic. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear this. And she rebuilt her life from the inside out. Alayna is a marine scientist, speaker, author, and leader with over 20 years of experience in the sustainable fisheries and environmental policies. These principles she's applied to her own healing journey, and after years of debilitating symptoms, she has found the deep connection to the natural world to fully recover and test negatively, which is crazy. So she is leading retreats at the Omega Institute, which like Bill Clinton, and people go to lead programs there, and her own programs to help people to get on the other side of healing and help. Alayna, I can't wait for you all to meet her. She literally has this pioneering spirit. I have seen lots of programs out there and lots of different ways and avenues in order to tap into getting on the other side of stress, anxiety, and self-development. I mean, I'm in this world, right? But the way that she's approaching it is an incredible, different, pioneering spirit with protocols that I've never seen, and they're so cool. So I just can't wait for you to meet her and to feel of her energy and to dive into her story and her beautiful human design chart. All right, I'll see you inside the episode. Alayna, thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited to have you here.
I'm thrilled. I truly am. I've been looking forward to this since we booked it.
Oh, I can't wait. I get to jump into your story and into your human design chart. Now, before we jump into that, we're going to do something I love. It's a game. It's from my ROI of Peace app. And here's the board. This is the page where we're looking at the interferers. Now, interferers are things that sabotage us. They're patterns that happen over and over and over again that sabotage our success and our happiness. Now, I'm going to have you pick a number 1 through 12, and you're going to pick the visualization story that we're going to do.
12.
12. Okay. All right. You are picking the perfectionist.
Nailed it.
What we're going to do is we're going to invest in our peace right now. So, listeners, friends, if you're in a seated position, you can close down your eyes. If you're walking or, multitasking, keep going. It's fine. But we're going to just invest in our peace. And so in these few minutes, you're investing in your peace, and that investment starts working right now. The perfectionist believes that flawlessness brings value, safety, and approval. But that's a lie. Your humanity is what makes you lovable, not your perfection. Let the story begin. There once was a woman who shaped clay every morning. Her hands were steady and skilled, but her heart was never satisfied. Each bowl she made, she examined under the light, searching for what was wrong. A small wobble in the rim, a line that wasn't perfectly even, a tiny air bubble that only she could see. Every time she sighed, set the bowl aside, and began again. Her shelves filled with half-finished pieces, each one almost perfect, but never enough. One day, another potter, an older woman whose hands were worn with wisdom, came to visit. She noticed a small bowl sitting off to the side, cracked and uneven. She picked it up, poured water into it, and set it in the sunlight. The water began to spill gently through the cracks, catching the light as it fell. And across the floor, colors shimmered, pinks, golds, soft blues. The older woman smiled and said, It is the crack that lets the light through. That's where its beauty lives. For a long moment, the potter just stared at the colors dancing across the floor. Then something inside of her softened. A breath she didn't even know she had been holding finally released. She walked to her shelf, picked up one of her imperfect bowls. This time she didn't see the mistakes. She saw the character. She traced the uneven lines with her fingertip, noticing how they caught the light, how they told the story of her hands, her care, her effort, her humanity. The more she looked, the more she realized it was the imperfections that made them beautiful. They were real. They were hers. From that day on, she'd stopped discarding her bowls. Her shelves filled not with perfection, but with peace. Each piece became a quiet reminder that beauty isn't something we achieve, perfection isn't something we achieve, and we don't need to achieve it. How has striving for flawlessness kept you from peace, connection, and joy? Where could you honor the beauties of your cracks, seeing them as proof of life and not evidence of failure? Now, if you've closed your eyes, you can open your eyes. Well done. That's another investment in your peace. So, Alayna, tell me what was going on. What were you thinking or feeling?
I relate to that entire I mean, honestly, it is so perfect that is the one that you selected for me. If I had to, boil down my survival mechanisms, coping mechanisms, whatever it is, perfectionism is top of the list. So, that story
Wow.
was so highly applicable to my life.
That's amazing. Well, and you chose it. Like, how perfect is that? So, how would, right? That's so great. How has like this striving for flawlessness kept you from peace, connection, joy, or success? How have you felt that?
I mean, it's easily one of the biggest obstacles to peace and health in my entire life.
Yes.
And I've worked really hard at it. It's very sticky. These things that we've picked up
Yes.
from our childhood or whenever we pick them up, they're so sticky. So perfectionism is probably the stickiest one I have. The ways that it's in my past kept me from, health or happiness is because you don't actually fully show your entire self to people. And so I have, strived for perfection. I've almost attained it in a lot of areas. I really have dedicated to perfection. But in doing that, people don't get to know the real, true, gritty you. And I
Yes.
have lifelong friendships, and they've been so patient with me while they are waiting for me to kind of crack open a little bit and show my true, real self. And so it's terrifying. No, it's terrifying facing these things.
Yes.
So it's just a practice of like being seen, not perfect, and the
Yes.
reward comes with that, like, deeper relationship that you form almost immediately when you're willing to show up not perfect. It starts to feel really good, but you have to take
Yes.
action in those, like, very uncomfortable first steps of doing something not perfect. My business partner is
Yes.
constantly like, she's like, "You're the biggest perfectionist I know." You know, God forbid a comma is out of place in in anything. I
Yes.
used to, and I still do to an extent, sort of melt down over
Yes.
those types of things. I take it as a
Yes.
personal reflection of who I am, and,
Yes.
so it's very harming. It definitely contributed to my illness, and it's something that I've worked really hard at, and you can work at these things. It just takes commitment and
Yes.
dedication and being willing to do, like, the really uncomfortable thing. An email goes out and there is a semicolon out of place, and I'm like, "Okay, people aren't going to leave me. Or people aren't going to think that I'm, like, less smart or whatever it is.
Yes.
So, also these amazing
Yes.
opportunities to, like, what does that mean? Like, okay, so if there is a comma out of place and I think that that is a reflection of me, I take the opportunity to, like, well, what's the story in my head? What does that mean if
Yes.
people don't think I'm perfect? And kind of get to, like, the root of these things. So they're really amazing blessings, you know?
Yeah, I think so too. I feel like I have this perfectionistic interfere in my life, and it's been telling me for my whole life, like, if you aren't perfect, you're gonna look dumb. People are gonna think you're stupid, or like, people are gonna be like, what? Why should I follow her? What does she have to say? Do you know? And it's been really hard. And I've had to really work at being like vulnerable and open, because I'm like, I'll say some things, but I think what MS has really taught me is to share more, and share. And in the sharing, it's really helped me to recognize it's okay. People actually want to know, like, what's the broken part of me, or what's the wrong part of me and things like that. And it's really connected me. I've had to like ask for help in so many different ways. And that alone has taught me so much about being willing to accept help, being willing to accept that I can't do it all on my own. And that's okay. So take us back to your diagnosis and and tell us the story of that diagnosis. Because I think that's what started this, right?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with chronic, like late stage, advanced, very, very serious case of Lyme disease. So in 2017, I was bitten by a tick in San Diego riding my horse. And had not really heard about Lyme disease. I knew a little bit about it from, like, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because Yolanda Hadid had talked about it, and that was about all I knew, and I was like, "Oh, this is kinda serious." I was bitten by a tick, didn't get any, true medical care,
Uh,
and then for the following 3 years, very, very odd, mysterious symptoms started to kinda creep into my life. And I was too busy being perfect and accomplishing that there was no time for me to investigate very weird things. Like my brain felt like it was vibrating. I lost feeling in my arms. Just really odd things, and I just was like, well,
yeah.
I don't have time to investigate this. I've got too much of a career to advance in. And then finally in 2020, my husband and I both got the flu, not COVID, just the regular flu. And he got better in like 3, 4 days. And I just never got better. So similar to your,
Our stories are like, and we were talking about this, like twins. Like,
I know.
seriously, literally crazy.
Yeah. So, and then a month before I got that flu, I had a really devastating horseback riding accident, and my horse cartwheeled and fell on top of me, and so I injured both my knees very badly. So it was sort of like a series of final straws. And yeah, so after a month on the couch, which when you're overachiever perfectionist, my husband was like, "Who are you? And where's my wife?" And he's like, "You need to go to the doctor." And the doctor, surprisingly, she said, "You have a stiff neck. You were bitten by a tick. You're
Mm.
very outdoorsy. All the things. I think you might have Lyme disease. We should test you." I got tested, and Lyme disease testing is a whole other course. But the fact I tested positive on the standard CDC approved Western blot test meant I was very limey. So I did test
Wow.
positive, and then that just kicked off an entire 5 years of deep, deep, study and healing and introspection, and now I am cured of Lyme. I don't have Lyme, I don't have any symptoms, I test negative for an illness that, if you went onto, like, Google or ChatGPT, it would tell you it's, something that you put into remission, something you manage symptoms for the
Yes.
rest of your life. Um, if you go on into, like, Lyme blogs or any of that stuff, that
Yes.
that is the narrative that will dominate, that this is something that
Yes.
you, have been most people aim for remission, and I just wasn't willing to do that. I didn't want something that was hanging over my shoulder, waiting for me to have the next like bad thing happen to trigger a flare. So I dedicated my entire life to curing this, and I feel great. I feel better. I'm so much better than I was. So I'm not even just like better. I'm not even just like where I was before Lyme. I'm
Mhm.
substantially better than I was before Lyme because of Lyme. So,
Wow,
yeah.
that's incredible. And really, like, did you when you got that diagnosis? Because again, Lyme is like you're just gonna have it forever. It's like MS. You're just gonna have it forever. And I feel like so many of us are given these. tragedies in life that are like, you're just going to have this forever. There's no hope, good luck to you, or that's how we feel inside. I've had so many clients who are like, I just feel like I, I'm going through this and I can't get on to the other side. And I'm like, so how did you change your mindset from this like diagnosis from someone who has said, I know my stuff, I'm a doctor, to being like, no, that's not how I'm going to live. I'm not going to live with that thing. How did you get there?
To be very clear, I was absolute petrified, terrified, devastated when it first happened. Devastated because of what the messaging was from people that like the whole white coat or whatever it is, right? All of that stuff. The way I shifted my beliefs about Lyme wasn't just this, like, I decided, because I find that can be that kind of language can be really common in like life coaching and stuff. Like, you just have to decide you're worthy. And I'm like, how on earth do you decide you're healed and you're healing when you are in pain top to bottom every minute of every day? Like, I have a strong will. I couldn't just decide. So I had to take, like, I always say, like, consistency and commitment is if not your greatest ally in this.
Mhm.
It's taking repeated action every single day to slowly rewire your brain. Like, we have neuroplasticity. We can change these beliefs that we hold that were given to us. We didn't necessarily ask for these beliefs. So it was a wholehearted, undying commitment to changing the neural pathways in my brain and the beliefs that I had been handed like literally decades before. So it's not like I just think that's so much more of a real answer than like, I just decided I was worthy. I would love to just decide to not worry, to just decide to not, like, you know what I mean? When you're anxious and like
Yes.
your husband's like, babe, don't worry. It's like, oh,
Yes.
thanks. Right. Yeah. Just to be told that. So, yeah, it's hard work. It's showing up, it's
Yes.
hard work, and it's years of it, and some days are better than others.
Yes.
Surrounding yourself with the right people. I have a whole, like, protocol, and, like, I break this down. It's an acronym I use. It's SOAR. It's SOAR, so surround, open, action, and release, and within each of those is, like, the actual tools of how to achieve this. And a lot of it is about taking intentional action repeatedly, looking deep within yourself, moving those old beliefs, who you surround yourself with, what you're listening to, like the groups you're a part of, the doctors you're working with, the family you let influence your beliefs on your illness and your prognosis. So all of that, I have a guide that I'm working on right now, so people can just reach out to me, register for my emails, and they'll get that guide, and it has the whole SOAR method breakdown, which is exactly how I did it. I don't have some special brain. I have a brain like every other person, and I guess I just I was relentless in my determination
Mhm.
to change.
I love that relentless and the determination to change. I think that's something that I've been diving into the last few months is like not settling for where I'm at and not settling for, well, this is as good as it gets. And also like at the same time being grateful for what I have, but being excited for what I can have, and having the determination forever and ever. So my family and I went to Hawaii a few years ago, literally my favorite place in the world. It's so amazing. And on the last day, my husband and I, we would take a walk, we would swim in the ocean while the kids were still asleep. It was amazing. The last day, there was this sea turtle. Ginormous. I've never seen a sea turtle in real life. It was so special. It was so amazing. Well, the sea turtle was just gliding through the water, And we would come a little closer and it would turn away from us, and we weren't trying to like, mess with it. It was just like, oh my gosh, this is the beautiful creature. And I remember that moment forever and always. And I think about that. Like, I am like a sea turtle, right? A sea turtle's not fast. It's not a dolphin. It's not a whale that's taking up lots of space, but it is fluid in its course and it keeps on going. It never is like, well, I'm a turtle. I'm just going to give up. That consistency, like consistency brings about one step right in front of the other. And that's all we have to do is just keep on going.
That quote, I don't remember, it's like a Chinese philosopher, but nature never hurries, yet everything is
Oh,
always accomplished or everything is always done.
yes.
I mean, if you're speaking my language, observing turtles, and then, like, reflecting back on how that their wisdom, knowledge applies to your own healing. That's basically the foundation of my entire messaging. And so, whether it's a turtle or a tree or your pet cat or whatever it is, you really don't see nature rushing ever. But look what is
No.
accomplished every season.
Yes. And that like trees don't worry about being watered or growing, you know? They're just here to flourish and yeah, there's so much to be learned from nature and I love again that you're tapping into how nature can heal us and using that as the way that we can heal ourselves too. You know, it's a perfect metaphor for how we can really heal. They know what they're doing, you know? Like the animals and the trees, they know it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
it's
right.
beautiful. And with your human design, it goes so right into the beauty that you bring to this world with your human design. Now, for everybody listening, all our friends listening and everybody, so you know what human design is, you may have heard of it. It's a pretty hot thing right now. And it's like a personality test. So if you ever used Enneagram or Strength Finders, human design is like 10 times the max of that. It goes even deeper into how we use our energy, our intuition, our gifts that we are born with. And there's about 35 to 40 parts on every person's chart. So there's a whole lot there. And we're just going to touch on a few that really like stood out to me. When I look at someone's chart, I'm like, there's a couple pieces that really stood out to me, and that's where we're going to dive into. So, the first place that we're going to go is you as your human design type. Now, human design type, think about like the foundation of a house. You know, this is kind of the foundation of how you operate best, the gifts that you were born with, the things that you're bringing to this world. And so, the mantra for this is I'm a visionary pioneer.
Me?
You! You are a visionary pioneer. You are a manifesting generator and you are a visionary pioneer. Literally, I was like, so right on with all that you're bringing into the world. Like, it's amazing. You are meant to follow what lights you up, follow what's exciting in your soul. That's your message to say, I should go to this next point. It might not make sense like on a spreadsheet wise, but follow what lights you up and what gets you excited. You're also really meant to pivot. You're meant to be like, okay, I'm going to take this one part of the journey and now I'm
Mhm.
moving on to this other part, you know? You're meant to like a bouncy ball. You know how a bouncy ball bounces from one thing to the next, right? That's kind of how you are because you're getting and gleaming the information, the experience from all different kinds of sources. And then you're allowing that energy that you have. You have this natural gift of lots and lots of energy. And that's probably why your husband's like, why are you on the couch? That doesn't even register, you know?
Yeah.
You have lots and lots of energy. And and that's a gift too, you know? You're wake up with energy, you're going to go to bed with energy. You're just going to be especially when you work in the things that light you up and get you really really excited. So the fact that you're bringing this new way of healing through hard things, through emotional and physical traumas to the world, like through a different method than I've ever seen anyone do is so remarkable because of that pioneering innovation spirit of yours. So now when we're going back to like, you have lots of energy. You've said yes, you can say yes to lots and lots of things, right? So, how have you honored your yeses and how have you, is it been hard to say no to things?
Okay, I don't think no existed in my vocabulary until 3 years ago. I mean, Lyme is 100% the reason I had to learn the word no, and it just forced that lesson on me because I was refusing that lesson even though the
Ah.
universe, world, whatever was trying to have me learn that. I lived such a fast-paced go, go, go life up until Lyme, and, like, truly petrified of the word no, like, um, to people, to opportunities, to anything.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, just very, very, very scared of using that word. So Lyme sort of doesn't allow you to avoid that lesson. And then honoring the yes is have been like, it's interesting you say about the pivoting. I have lived a life like I don't live in the country I was raised in, like I've done some big things, like brave kind of moves in my life that people were like, "Wow, that was kind of, unique and brave or whatever." Um, and so with the times I had, like at 24, I decided to drive to Belize from Vancouver Island in British Columbia, where I'm from, with my boyfriend at the time in like a little tent. And I just like announced it to him one day. I was like, "Well, we're gonna drive to Panama." And we didn't get to Panama. We went all throughout Mexico and into Belize, but like, or just to the Belize border. But like, yeah, it was just kind of like I've made those kind of bold, and they always
Yes.
reward me. It was one of the most important chapters of my life. It was at the height of the drug war. We didn't know any of this, right? It was 2008. Americans like, "What are you doing?"
Yes.
The Canadians, we didn't really, like, get the memo that, like, stuff was going kinda sideways down there. That being said, it was the best time of my life, and I never felt threatened once. Um, yeah, so honoring the yeses, I've been moderately okay at. I can see where some of
Yes.
like, wounds or the scars that we all have from my youth have made me really not say yes when I know I would have been great. For example, I knew I arrived on this planet to be a veterinarian. It was in like every cell of my body, and I knew that until unfortunately like life happens and I lost most of my confidence, and I thought my family could never afford vet school, and I'm not smart enough and I'm too stupid, and so I volunteered feverishly at vet hospitals. I've been riding horses my whole life, like collecting animals, and pivoted, and I went into marine biology and went to grad school and kind of proved myself wrong. But that's a yes I would have probably loved to have honored, because I know now I absolutely have the intellect, and I would have figured out the money, and you're just older and wiser now. That would have been a
Yes.
yes that I think would have been really really cool to honor. I think I would have been a really amazing vet. So yeah, it's hard, it's just
Yes.
really really hard. But I think the learning the no is one of the most important things that people with any chronic illness, whether it's Lyme or MS, are being asked to learn swiftly.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know in the MS community, but in the Lyme community, there is definitely a type of person, and I can be quite like the poster child type, like overachievy, people pleasy, overwork, very tight, like not tightly wound, but like I can be like, I'm not tightly wound, but I'm very aware
And driven.
and driven. And
Yes.
society loves that. Like I'm a great employee. I am a doer. Like I am.
Yes.
Oh, it's done. It's in your inbox before you
Yes.
ask me.
Yes.
So learning those no's is I mean, how do you heal from Lyme? Learn no.
Yes. Well, and especially for your human design type, that no is going to feel like kind of blah. It's going to feel like a responsibility. It's going to feel like I have to do this or I should do this. And so when we're responding, especially this is your strategy as a manifesting generator. So when you're responding to someone asking you to do something or an opportunity or whatever it is, and you have to make this yes or no decision, I want you to really take a second to listen to your body. Listen to it. Is it saying a yes, which is light up, sparkly, joyful feeling? Or is it a no, which is like blah, uninspired, I should do this? And responding takes a moment. And typically, especially with an MG, you're like, let's just go, we're going. And so oftentimes I'm like, okay, you can tell yourself, I need an hour to decide on this. I can decide this at the end of the day, or you know what? I could even sleep on it. Like, whoa, let's get some more tools that give yourself some more time before you respond. So that you're making those yeses that feel true yeses inside of your body, and the true no's that are saying, no, I don't want to do that. Because even though you have lots of energy, doesn't mean you should do all the things, and doesn't mean you even could do all the things. And that's even good for your body to do all the things. So, yeah. Another part on your chart that stood out to me is your profile. Now, a profile is made up of two numbers. And a profile is just another characteristics that you were born with. And so you are a 4-6, and this is mantra is I lead with my heart and I let life show me the way. So the 4 in your profile is you're really this regal authority figure. So you really have this knowledge just by being you. You love to go Google things, you love to learn things, you love to get in there. And you're also a people person too, as well. And so people see you as an authority figure, not because you have degrees or certifications, just because the way you speak. Do you know when you've heard like people and you're like, wow, they know a lot, but
Mhm.
we don't really know if they know a lot. It just sounds like authoritarian because they're filled with passion, they're filled with knowledge, and they really share that with others. And so you're a leader within your tribe and you don't have to push that leadership because it's just naturally who you are. And you can position yourself as that wise role model in whatever area you choose because you'll be that role model. You'll be that wise leader in that area. So, as you're as you've stepped into this your programs and thought leadership in the Lyme community, have you felt that wise role model come, or has it been a disconnect with, oh, I should have more certifications or whatever, like trainings?
Oh, yeah, that's huge. I mean, I have a near 20-year career in fisheries, sustainable
Yes.
fisheries management. So understanding in a nutshell, like how many fish can we catch so we make sure there's still some left in the ocean. And so that was like my education and my career. And just at the point where you start to get you're not green in your career. And that's when I was like, I'm out of here. That's when I got sick. And so then I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm now dabbling in like medical, but I don't want to be handing out medical advice. I have no desire to be a medical doctor. So yes, of course those are very loud in my head, but the way I've sort of now understand my messaging is really that I have my understanding as a biologist deeply informing my healing guidance. So when I think about it like that, I'm like, oh, I actually am an expert on this. I have lived the Lyme story, and so much of my healing was accomplished through my relationship to nature and the natural world. So I am actually a certified expert on that. I have lots and lots of experience on rebuilding species and ecosystems and all that stuff. So it oscillates, like we're human. Some days I feel
Yes.
like a total, what am I doing here? Some days I feel really worthy. And I think that's normal. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely lacked a significant amount of confidence for the first, 3 decades of my life. And
Mm.
I do understand. Like I I thought I was an introvert. Like I told
Yes.
one of my best friends like 2 years ago, I'm like, "I am an introvert." And she was like, "That is the most asinine thing I've ever heard." Like, "You are not an introvert." I was like, "I am. Like, I'm just really shy." She was like, and now that I look at it, I'm like, "No, that was definitely like, that was the confidence that got eroded." Um
Yes.
because as I've healed, I'm really I love speaking, I'm gonna give a TED Talk. I'm gonna speak at Omega Institute this summer. I when I teach at the university, like I've done a lot of guest lecturing at the university level. It's my favorite thing in the world to do. Uh, but I do it in spite of a lot of anxious and fear stuff that probably comes with that, like learned lack of confidence. But I think it's absolutely normal, and when you see someone like I may come across as really, really
Yes.
confident and like leadery, know that I also have almost had heart attacks getting on stages to talk,
Yes. And
you know?
it's a complete normal human experience to have those like thoughts of like, can I do this? Am I meant to do this?
Yeah.
And what I love about human design is it trains our brains to be like, wait a second, actually, I am meant to do this. And what I found is, so same thing, like about to go on stage, about to do something, and I'm like, what am I doing? What's wrong with me? I should just go run, away. And then I have this thought, okay, I know I'm scared, it's okay, but my human design told me I have the gift of speaking, and so this is what we're going to do. And we're just going to enjoy the process and just have fun? And so it really is this retraining of like, you know what? You are a people person. You know what? You are like this royal regal authority figure. And then when your brain's like, I don't know, you can tell it, hey, my human design told me this because I was born this way. And then it helps dispel those thoughts and those feelings and gets us into the zone of like where we're meant to be, which is so fun and so beautiful, you know?
Well, like, I just love that you used the word royal twice. My
Yeah.
family, we're Canadian. My family's English, so my mom, her whole family, my grandparents were in England, and so like we love Kate Middleton, and like it's just so my husband's gonna lose it. He's gonna be like, oh, she knew exactly what to say to you. Because my mom, and like the running joke, my mom in England, like to have two middle names, I think is more common. So I have
Oh,
two middle names. It's Elizabeth Victoria because my mom like literally wanted me to be royal. And so it's really amazing. I'm like, "Oh, yeah."
this is so great. Oh my goodness. Yes, I know. I totally get it. There's something like just so interesting and fascinating about the Royals and like just like it's so fun to see them. But yeah, that is totally right. It's like when you are the one that acknowledges that this is me, that's when the major shifts happen, you know? Like people can tell us all the time, like, hey, I'm this way and this way. But I love the human design is like, this is a fact. I was born at this time and a place for a reason. I believe that. And so I am this way. This is what I'm bringing to the world. And we can play with these gifts and play with these new thoughts that bring to us. Now, being a people person, the strategy for this is to still curate the circle intentionally. You still get to curate those people. You don't have to be accessible to everybody. And especially, I think with Lyme and MS has taught me that because it's very draining. But your peace depends on protecting your energetic environment. So you can lead with that and be okay to, step out of circles that are not fitting, and to shift that. Have you felt that?
Oh, yeah, back to the SOAR method. S is
Yes.
surround because uh, 100% agree with
Yes.
you. They say you're the aggregate of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, it truly influences and shapes how you show up. I will leave this call feeling more confident, more capable of giving speaking engagements because of this hour with you. And it can go the other way. You can leave a conversation with a person feeling less capable. And so over time, that adds up significantly. So, and that applies to your health too. Are you being told over and over again that remission is your best case scenario, that symptoms are going to plague you for the rest of your life? Or are you surrounding yourself with people who believe in the opportunity, like the possibility of full recovery because they're living, breathing examples? And I'm one of them. So choose
I
wisely.
Yeah, choose wisely. I think that's a really good benchmark is choose wisely. Yeah, exactly. One other part on your human design chart that just stood out to me is when we're looking at that body graph, we're going to see these lines coming across, and some of the lines are colored in and they're little, and some
Mhm.
are longer. And so both of them, the littler lines are called gates. And the longer lines are channels. And gate 39 is what stood out to me. And this mantra is I create tidal waves of change. This is the gate of creating growth in people, waking people up, just like the ocean. It's like, the waves are just so powerful and moving a force of nature that moves things. And you do so with this emotional and spiritual awareness, this loving and giving energy, but it's powerful at the same time, just like when the ocean breaks with a wave. And you say things that others might avoid, but definitely others need to hear it. Do you know? And your gentle jolt breaks people open to the next level. And so this is really a beautiful gift that you get to use in your work. And how do you see your voice utilizing this awakening gift with others, with your audience and your community as you're in this area?
So I think about some of the people I've idolized or looked up
Yes.
to for my life, like Jane Goodall. I mean, to be a Jane Goodall was sort of my end goal, like that, not to be a Jane Goodall, but to follow in those sorts of footsteps. And that to me, what you just described would seem like that would describe her. I always said I want to be like the Lorax, like speak for the trees. And so, yes, I love people, but really my heart is eviscerated and cracked open a million ways by the the crimes against nature that we conduct every
Yeah.
day and animals. And so if I my dream is really to speak heart forward for the animals and the wild spaces that we are actively destroying. We're in the midst of the sixth mass extinction because of humans. Biodiversity rates of loss are, it's an extinction happening, and most people are wandering around. They have no idea. And if you really start opening your eyes to what we are doing to this planet, it will bring you to your knees. It's horrifying. And the innocence that exists in the species that we share this planet with, it drives me to want to do this. I cultivated a very like socially acceptable career around this, like in fisheries science and management. I was lobbying in DC every year and, you know, looking for fisheries research funding and things like that. So I was doing it in a very like polished, professional kind of
Uh,
acceptable way. And now I'm like, shit's hitting the fan.
yes.
We need to speak up now. And I'm used to speaking at like scientific conferences and being intimidated by my peers and people that have like 1,000 degrees. And I feel now more motivated to just speak candidly from the heart and not worry about whether or not it's backed by, well, I don't know. It's just to speak a little bit more candidly from the heart because
Yes.
I just can't bear to witness what we're doing to this planet.
Yeah.
And so when you're like,
Yes. Yeah.
do what your heart fault
Yes.
said, I'm like, so am I going to open up that cat rescue today? Like, what?
Yes. Yes.
I'm like
Totally.
a decision away from 80 cats.
That is so great. And it is. It's like, and we are the same person because we
Yeah.
lost one of our trees in a storm and I literally cried. I literally was like, don't even. And we're both from the Northwest. So
Yes.
we're very in tune with nature and the love of it. And when you were chatting with me, I was like, oh, it
Mhm.
just like, yeah, it gets me. And
Yes.
use that as a gift moving forward and know that you're going to land it with the people that need to hear it. And it's going to create ripples, right? And ripples sometimes people accept it and sometimes people don't. But those people that don't are not your people. And you don't need to worry about them. You can just land your messages in the way that this feeling is calling you towards. Because when you do so, you're in alignment and the path will be opened up, and it's all there for you. So, this strategy for this gate is to really allow this great change that's coming from within you to be the inspiration to lead you towards the movement that you're wanting to go towards.
Oh, you're so good for my confidence,
Ah,
girl.
thanks.
I need to phone you up. I'm feeling a little like, questioning what I'm doing.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I just love yeah, like how deeply this taps into like what you're doing. It's meant for you and it's just
So cool.
especially your chart is only for you. So, it's
Oh.
amazing. So, well, when we're talking about this return on investment in business and in life, really, we talk about like return on investment of marketing, sales, and results and all these things. But when we're talking about the return on investment of peace, where in your life or work have you been feeling called to invest in more peace right now?
Hmm. I still subscribe heavily to doing 4,000 things a day, and that
Yes.
is not conducive to that much peace. So my doctor always said to me, "You just pivoted your overachieving from your career to your healing." And it was like spreadsheets and 1,000 healing things a day. And so my healing started to stress me out. So I think, and now that's sort of pivoted to this new business, resilient by nature. Um, I still really struggle with the idea that I can do nothing for even 10 minutes, because me
Yes.
doing nothing is reading a book and highlighting and taking notes and further informing myself. But to truly do nothing, the best place I do nothing is in nature. Nothing. It's like probably the most productive thing I do is nothing in nature. And so even if that's like literally lying on the floor with my cat and being like, you stay down here for 5 minutes and all you're doing is like staring at your cat or witnessing the crows or the red-tailed hawks. We have a lot of red-tailed hawks in our neighborhood. But yeah, that would be probably the one that these are tough, tough. This is tough conditioning to break.
It
And
is.
again, what we've touched on, like society rewards these things. Like if you're a
Yes.
doer and accomplisher, society is going to propel you further in that direction. So,
Yes.
like, I know all those people like rest is rebellious and all that. Like, truly is
Yes.
because all of the voices in my head, at least, are screaming at me. You loser, get up.
Yes.
You're gonna get left behind. You already spent 5 years sick. Hurry up.
Yes. It totally is. And it's realizing those messages in our brains are not leading us in the right direction, and taking one little step, like you said, just a step in the right direction, a step in supporting ourselves, I think is just so, so beautiful. So, Alayna, I know that people are going to want to be friends with you. I'm just so glad we're friends.
I know we're the same person. It's great.
It's
You told me your
insane.
story. I was like, this is divine
Yes.
intervention.
Seriously, insane. How can people jump into your world and get connected with you?
I want people to jump into my world. I really mean this. If you don't like cats, maybe not, but or I'll convert you. Um,
Yes.
I'm active all the time on Instagram. Alayna Belquist is my name, so you can just find me there. My website is full of information. I run a workshop called Resilient by Nature to teach people with chronic illness, anxiety, depression, whatever it is, how to connect to the natural world and fully recover. I'm so excited, like truly, and I don't say that very often. I am truly thrilled about this guide I've put together. It's like a 15-page PDF that I'm going to be offering people because I get asked daily, what did you do? How did you do it? And so I've kind of condensed my how did you recover fully from Lyme into a 15-page documents. And I'm voracious about my reading and my studying. I have found nothing like this in the Lyme community. Nothing at
Yeah.
all. So if you want the guide, it's a free guide that will be available probably next week. So you just go to my website, which is my alaynabelquist.com. Just Google my
Yes.
name. And then sign up for my emails. And it's going to just be sent directly to everyone who registers for my emails. Reach out to me, talk to me on Instagram. I respond to all of my DMs. You know what I mean? I'm easy to find. And I'll be speaking, like I said, at Omega this summer. And I just want to connect people to this planet and to heal themselves and to heal this planet. And it's dire. We need to do this. We are sicker than ever. This planet is sicker than ever. We are mirroring each other. And the way to recover is to connect back to your human nature. And I'm like, it's called human nature, the word
Yes.
nature. So,
It's there for a reason. Yes,
yes,
exactly. I love
so check
that.
it out.
Oh my
Connect.
gosh. Thank you so much for being on the show. And listeners, thank you so much for being here with us. This is so beautiful that we can tap into our own measures of peace and really see that investing in peace really does pay off. All right, we'll see y'all in the next episode.